What is up, guys? It's your boy, That Kid RBM, back again with another video. And today we are finally going to be doing the full build list on the KW FA5. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys what I've done to the car, how I got the car, if I do have any plans with the car going along. I'm trying to keep this a short intro, so let's get right into it. And one last thing before I do start the entire video, I'm going to be listing every single thing I put on this car. Before you guys say,
tint is in the mud. This isn't a...
Okay, I know, but some people care what percent tint I have. Some people care what type of oil I put in this car. So this is a guide for you guys. If you guys want to build this exact same car, you can do it. So let me show you my KW FA5. So before we get into everything, I'm just gonna do a quick walk around. So like I said, this is my 2007 Honda Civic SI sedan, also known as an FA5. So I bought this car March of this year. I bought it from someone out in Arizona. So the car was pretty much stock. The only thing it had was the Supercharger Kit. So it looked like a stock Civic from the outside and pretty much from the inside, and it had a Supercharger Kit on it. So I paid $8,500 for the car, and then shout out to my boys RMG, Redline Motor Group. They transported the car over from Arizona to me in New Hampshire for $1,150. So that's pretty much it when it comes to how I got the car and how much I paid for it. So now I'm gonna prop up the camera and I'm gonna go through every single mod, first starting off with the outside of the car, then the inside, cosmetics, engine bay, and stuff like that. All right, so this is probably gonna be a pretty long video. Like I said, I'm gonna start off with the exterior cosmetic mods that are on the car. I'll throw in some shots and some pictures of while I got the parts installed or kind of how they're sitting right now. So without further ado, we're gonna start off with the exterior cosmetic mods of this car. So I have a whole list on my phone. So the first thing is the full OEM 07 to 08 HFP lip kit. So I got the front lip from a part out in Florida. The side skirts, I got them from my buddy out in Canada, Steve. I'll link his Instagram down below, or I'll throw his handle right here. And then the rear lip, I got it from my boy Xavier, so shout out to you. Other than that, we have these clear headlights. I got these from eBay. And then as you guys can see on this one, I have a carbon fiber headlight duct that goes right to the supercharger piping. And then going more in depth with the physical headlights, for the low beams, I have some HIDs. For the singular high beam, I have just one LED because obviously this is where the other high beam would go. And then for the corner lights, I have some Lasfit switchbacks. So those, they're white and then they turn orange when you put the turn signal on. Other than that, we have the red Jdm badges. I got those from eBay, so I have those front and rear. And then on the side of the car, we have some Volk TE37. So specifically, these are bronze Volk TE37 Saga S pluses. The size is 17 by 9 plus 22. The tire is 235/40 Nittos. And then as far as my fitment goes, I have rolled fenders. In the front, I have negative 1.5 degrees of camber. And in the rear, I have -5, which is pretty much a lot of camber for these cars, but I did what I can to fit it within the wheel arches without rubbing too much. Continuing on pretty much the wheel setup, we have ARP extended wheel studs. We have Muteki titanium SR48 lug nuts. And that's pretty much it as far as the wheels go. I probably am gonna be changing these wheels next year if I end up keeping this car. I don't know what wheel I wanna go with yet, but we'll see when it comes to that. And then continuing on the exterior of the car, we have some Mugen window visors. And then our side view mirrors, I have spoon glass on it. So to make that work, shout out to Vic Wavy, I had to get the physical FD2 glass, and then I got spoon glass that goes right over it. You have to modify the back of the FD2 glass just a little bit for it to work on the USDM actual mirror, but it worked and I stuck those on. And then heading out towards the back of the car, we have an FD/CSX. I got mine from Canada. I got a trunk. So that trunk, I got it from Steve. And then I got the CSX trunk because it has no holes for a wing. And as you guys can see, I have the OEM FA5 spoiler on the back. All I did was I took out the physical studs that it came with and I put 3M tape and then I just stuck it on to the back of the trunk. And then also back there, as you guys can see, I have some OEM FD2 Type R tail lights, the hexagon ones, the facelift ones. And then getting more nitpicky into some stuff, we do have some Mugen license plate bolts, as you guys can see on the license plate. And then finishing off with the exterior of the car, I have 50% windshield tint. I have a 5% strip on top. And then on the sides of the car all around, I have 15%. And then the top of the car is wrapped in gloss black by my boy, Nick. So shout out to you. Okay guys, so now for some interior mods. So I got myself a little comfortable here. So we're gonna start off with what we see here first. So we have this carbon fiber steering wheel. So surprise, I got this from Alibaba, the exact same wheel that people be selling. I got it for like 300 bucks. So that's one of my favorite interior mods so far right here. And then on the steering wheel, we have a red Jdm H. I think I got that from eBay as well. Up top, we have our accelerate gauge pods. So on this side, I have my boost meter. And on the right side, I have my air fuel ratio. Down at the bottom right here, I have my oil pressure gauge by AEM as well. And I have a vent gauge pod from eBay. And then right here on my dash, I cut a hole for my innovative flex fuel sensor right here. So right here, it shows the content of ethanol that I have in the car. Right below that, we have our FD2 push to start button. And then continuing on the physical dash of the car, on this other side right here, I have my FD2 JDM hazard light button. And then up here, I have my Atoto A6 double DIN radio. So I really like the radio, pretty much only because it has the compatibility to put Honda on it because it is an Android radio. But to be honest, the audio quality isn't too good. And then right below that, I have my Honda Flash Pro. The way that I routed that was I made a hole right at the bottom of both sides where it's mounted in. And then I took it from the inside right where the port is and I pretty much fished the wire right behind. And then through my glove box, I put the other side that goes to my laptop, I put it through here and then I took it out from there. So that way, when I have my laptop sitting right in my passenger seat, I have my laptop there, I don't have wires in the way, and then that's pretty much that. Other stuff that I have in the interior, I have my Hybrid Racing V2 short shifter, so I have this one in black, and then I have a black Hybrid Racing shift knob, and then I have a Chasing J's titanium shift knob. Right here as well, I have my CSX center console. Got that from Steve as well. Steve is the plug, shout out to him. And then I have this carbon zone overlay for the shifter bezel. And keeping in the same area, I have this black e-brake handle, and this is from a DX Civic. So I got this from the junkyard. I got lucky on that because those are actually pretty rare. And then continuing on stuff that I have with the car, down here I have these pretty rare HFP floor mats. A lot of people ask me about these. So these are from a 9th gen Civic. I got these from a lady in Canada. So shout out to my boy Brian, I believe it was. He went to go scoop these for me and then he shipped them over. But yeah, they're pretty rare. I paid a pretty good penny for these. They're not perfect fit. Like on this side, they don't clip into the hooks, but on the sides and the rear, they fit pretty good. Other than that, right here, I have my black wrapped roof, and then all of the trims and the accessories in the roof and the headliner is all sprayed black with, I believe it's Duplicolor satin black paint. I'll throw in a picture of the one that I use if that's incorrect. And then other than that, right up here, I have the Spoon rear view mirror glass. So when you search for this, I'll throw in the part number. This is not the same one as the FD2 one. I believe this is maybe a CRX or CRZ. The FD2 one is more of a square shape. So the one that I have here, it fits perfectly with the FA5 one. So just like the outside mirrors, it's literally just you stick on the glass over glass. So that's what I have here. So this is wide angle, which is great. You can literally see like the corner for the windows, and it has a blue tint on it. So if there's someone behind you with some really high beams, it dumbs it down just a little bit. And then other stuff that I have is down there, I have my MDP clutch pedal brace. And then I also have this aluminum dead pedal that I got from eBay. So there's a guy that sells them with an SI badge on it. So all I did was I inboxed him and I said that I don't want one with the SI badge. First order, he sent me one with the SI badge by accident, but he let me keep that one. And then he sent me one with nothing on it. So that's pretty close to the Strut King dead pedal, which they don't sell anymore. I had one on the old car, but I ended up selling it. And then on the other side, on the passenger side, I have, I believe it's called the Bracketeer from Amazon. And then I have a fire extinguisher, you know guys, safety first. For that exact Bracketeer, I had the brackets that hold the extinguisher extended just a little bit, just because I didn't want the extinguisher to sit under the seat. So I got that done. And then that's pretty much it for the interior of the car. So the next thing that we're gonna do is move on to the actual performance parts of the car. So that goes mostly with the engine bay, some of the suspension components, stuff to do with the supercharger. And the last thing that we'll do is pretty much the engine bay cosmetic mods. So we'll get to that right now. Yeah, I like that, huh? So real quick before we get into the actual mods that's in the engine bay and the performance mods, as you guys may know, these are my carbon fiber hood struts. I have them on my Shopify shop if you guys never need some. Mostly specifically for 8th gen Civics. I'm working on these for a couple other models of cars. So I make them full pressure for metal hoods and I make them half pressure for carbon fiber hoods. So if you need a set, check the links below. And let's get into the actual mods of this engine. All right, so this is probably what most of you guys are here for. So now we're gonna talk about the performance parts. So obviously the first thing that we're gonna talk about is the Supercharger Kit. So this car, shout out to Mark Hurd, he's my tuner. So we dynoed this car on full E85 and it made 401 wheel horsepower with 282 foot-pounds of torque. And that was at 12 PSI with an 8K redline. On 93 octane, it made 374 wheel horsepower and 264 pound-feet of torque. Again, same at the 12 PSI and at the same red line of 8,000 RPMs. So, talking about the actual supercharger kit that we have, so this is a Kraftwerks C30-94 centrifugal supercharger kit. So like I said, this car came with this kit on it, but nothing else. So I put all the other extra bits on it. I put the flex fuel kit, but we'll pretty much talk about everything one by one. Like I said, I have a pretty long list of what I have. So up top, we have the 110 millimeter supercharger pulley. So that's the one that it comes with. And then on the bottom, I have a K24A crank pulley. So that's a bigger pulley. So pretty much if you guys don't know how superchargers work, so the smaller pulley you have up top and the larger pulley you have at the bottom, the more boost you make. The only problems that you may run into is if you have too much of either or, you could end up overspinning the actual Roadtrek supercharger and you could damage the unit. So we ended up not going too crazy with it, and it made 12 pounds of boost, which is pretty good for me. So that's the setup that we have going on right now. As far as the supercharger serpentine belt, we have a 7-rib 70-inch serpentine belt. I believe I got that one from AutoZone. And then also part of the kit, I have a Dayco idler pulley and I installed it backwards. The reason why you have to install the idler pulley backwards is because the lip sits closer to the physical unit of the charger and it allows the 7th rib of the serpentine belt to sit flush with that pulley. And then moving on to what we have on the supercharger kit, we have the MDP Roadtrek bracket. So shout out to MDP, one of my sponsors. And then we have in the engine, we'll move along from the supercharger kit. So we have ARP head studs. I still have to tear apart this motor. That's actually gonna be the thing that I'm gonna be doing next. I'm gonna refresh the motor. When I got this car, there was a skunk tube box in the trunk. So we're not really sure. We didn't look too deep into it, but it might have skunk tube cams, it might not. I know that it does have upgraded springs and retainers. I'm just not sure what the brand is. Like I said, when I do a tear down of the actual motor, I'll be able to know what exactly is in the car. But yeah, it's pretty much that. And then heading back towards the rear, so we have skunk tube alpha headers. Attached to that, we have a full race 3-inch exhaust, and the tip was extended by my fabricator, one of my fabricators, JFab. So if you don't extend the tip, if you have an HFP rear lip like I do, it'll sit under the lip and it'll cause to burn it. So I extended it by like maybe 2 or 3 inches. So it's sitting pretty flush right now. Other than that, we have an eBay tile 50mm blow-off valve. So I have that right over here. I'll throw a picture of that there. Shout out to Z-Flow for welding that bung on for me. And then in that blow-off valve, we have a tile 2 PSI spring. So with superchargers, you use way lighter springs than what you do with turbos. Moving on from that, all of our motor mounts are Hasport 88. For the front though, I have an innovative 75A mount. Shout out to Zah, she got me that. And moving on to the side of the car, for stopping power, we have StopTech 4-piston front calipers. And then we have Wagner Lank rotors. I believe I got those from Rock Auto. And then I also have StopTech braided brake lines. I believe this car also has the TL Type S brake master cylinder, which you need when you're running a bigger brake kit, so the brake pedal doesn't feel as spongy as it does if you were to run it without it. Moving on from that though, I have hard race rear camber arms, D2 coilovers, and that's pretty much how I have this stance going on right here. So with those coilovers, the top hats are adjustable, so that's how I adjusted the camber out the front. And then for the rears, like I said, I had the hard race, so that's how I adjusted the camber in the rear. Moving on from that, back into the engine bay, I have a Skunk 2 radiator with the hoses, and then I have a Hondata 4-bar map sensor. Pretty much need it when you're running boost. And then as far as my fuel system goes, I have a 6 to 8 AN fuel return system. For the injectors, I have FIC 1650cc injectors. Fuel pump out back, I have a Walbro 525 fuel pump. Back to the front, I have a radium fuel rail, radium fuel pressure regulator, and I also have the radium fuel pressure gauge. And then for the flex fuel, like I said, I have the Sierramoto flex fuel kit. So that allows me to run E85, but also if you run E85 in these cars, the leveler from the 8th gen fuel system unit, fuel sending unit, it corrodes with 85 over time. So what I did, I went to the junkyard, I got a random, I think it was a base model 9th gen Civic fuel sending unit. I had my fabricator, he put the bungs on it for the return, and I clocked the fuel system, fuel sending unit a certain way. I'll show a picture of that here. You have to clock it a certain way for the leveler to read the exact amount of fuel that's in the car. So like I said, the 9th gens, they're compatible with 85 when it comes to the leveler. So that's what I used. Like I said, I'll throw more pictures of kind of what I did. That's a big one, because 8th gens, you'll see that they have no gas reading, but it's just the 85 that eats that stuff away. And then moving along from that, we have a Clutch Masters FX500 clutch. We have a Fidanza 8-pound aluminum flywheel, Sierramoto CMC and slave cylinder. And then the transmission was recently rebuilt. So a new second gear, main shaft, synchros, all that stuff. So all of those were OEM brand new parts. And then going into the more smaller things, I have NGK 2669 spark plugs. And then for the oil, I have Pengrade 10W30. And then for the transmission fluid, I have Motul 300 trans fluid. So those are all of the performance mods that this car has. Right now, I'm pretty fine with it being at 400 wheel horsepower. I'm telling you guys, 400 wheel, 350 plus is more than enough for the street, especially in a front wheel drive car. My old car, the Turbo FD2, that was making 550 wheel horsepower. And to be honest, you can't really use that power, especially on the street. You're gonna be spinning. I'm gonna make a comparison video of comparing Kraftwerks supercharger to a turbocharged Civic, but just in short, superchargers are great for daily driving, low maintenance, and for easy power. I do like turbos a bit more just because of there's no limit on the power and they're just more fun. But I love this car, don't get me wrong. I love the Supercharger Kit. It hasn't given me any problems really. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to performance stuff. So the last thing that we're gonna move on is the engine bay mods that I have in the car. All right guys, so the last thing that we're gonna talk about is the cosmetic parts that we have in the engine bay. So like I said, we have the first thing are my very own hood struts. We already spoke about them. If you need a set, let me know. Description is down below where to get them. Moving on to the valve cover, we have the Drag Cartel valve cover. So this one is wrinkle red. Came with the two 10AN fittings for the catch can that we'll speak about later. But we also have the Drag Cartel oil cap, we have the Drag Cartel dipstick, and right up top, it's hard to see with everything on, but we have the Drag Cartel carbon fiber and nickel coil pack cover. Also, shout out to MDP once again. We have their MDP valve cover hardware, and also for MDP, we have the brake and clutch fluid reservoir canister. So shout out to them, links down below to their shop. They make a bunch of great parts for the 8th gen, and I pretty much have everything that they have to offer for the 8th gens, amazing quality. And then other than that, we have this vibrant catch can, like I said, with the 10AN lines. My fabricator made a custom bracket, so it sits right above the transmission, honestly in the perfect spot for that. Moving on to my fabricator, shout out to Joel. So like I said, we have this custom bracket for the catch can. Obviously, you guys can see we have this custom intake piping, so it goes straight from the Roadtrex and it goes directly into my headlight. And then other than that, we have the lower battery relocation tray. A lot of people ask, where's my battery? It's right under the passenger headlight, and right above that, he made a custom plate, pretty much a battery jumper. So we have a positive terminal, and I use the motor mount as a negative terminal if I ever need to jump the car. And that's it when it comes to my boy Joel. Shout out to you. I already spoke about the extended exhaust that he did for me too. And then moving on to some of the carbon fiber bits that you guys may see, we have the Password JDM cooling plate right up front, and then we have the Password JDM fuse box cover, and we have the Password JDM ECU cover as well. Going down below the intake piping, I believe I got it on Amazon. It's an aluminum coolant overflow tank, so it's just a generic black tank because I got rid of the stock one. And then pretty much the last part in the engine bay is a Mugen radiator cap that I got a while ago. But that's pretty much it with the engine bay mods that I have so far. I think it looks pretty clean, pretty minimalistic, and pretty much how I want it to be right now. This car definitely does need a detail inside and out, but that's pretty much it when it comes to the engine bay mods. So we'll move along from there. Pretty much everything, but let's do a couple more things. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. That's the whole build list of this car. I spent a lot of money on this car. I actually tallied it up. So like I said, I purchased this car for 8,500 bucks. Crazy steal with it being a no rust car from Arizona with a Supercharger kit on it. I paid $11.50 for my boys to bring it down across from Arizona. I gave the drivers a $100 tip, so that totals at $97.50 for the car. And so far, I spent $22,950 on this car.
Huh?
Yeah, $32,700 total.
Huh?
About. So yeah, I have a problem, slight problem, but that's okay. That's okay. It's really not okay. But anyways, yeah, this is the build list of my KW FA5. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I actually recorded this months ago, but I didn't like how it came out, so I told myself I was gonna do it again. It is 30 degrees outside here in New Hampshire. It's actually not too cold. I took my coat off, as you guys may notice. But yeah, beautiful day. We got the video done. I'm gonna go inside, edit this, shoot a couple shots for you guys.
What do you mean by that?
But that's pretty much it. Like I said, I am planning to fully refresh this motor. I did get the front end repainted recently, but I do have to paint correct pretty much the rest of the whole entire car just to make everything as clean as the front end is. I still don't know if I'm gonna keep this car, to be quite honest with you guys. If you guys have me on Instagram, I have been thinking about maybe getting a Corvette or another motorcycle or something. I really don't know. It's still up for debate. But anyways, I do appreciate you guys for being here, for subscribing, for watching my content, for interacting with my content. I am trying to be more consistent with these uploads. Now it is winter, a bunch of salts on the road, so I'm not gonna be driving this car in the street. I don't want to have rust on this car, but I am planning to do more content, like reacting to your guys' cars and reacting to stuff on Marketplace and just a bunch of other videos that doesn't require me to physically go outside with this car. Being in New England, it's gonna be snowing this week I'm not gonna be able to drive the car regardless, even if I wanted to. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's gonna do it for today's video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, like it, subscribe, comment. Until next time, this is That Kid RBM. Check you guys in the next one. Peace. You guys aren't gonna believe this. That burnout I just did. Bro, no. No. Right over my extension wire. God damn it.